Please don't tell me you let him into the ceremony, one woman muttered as the bride dashed forward, arms wide, to greet a shabby-looking man, who had just walked into the church. A ripple of unease passed through the crowd, some averting their eyes. But within moments, the atmosphere shifted entirely. 12 Marines in crisp dress blues marched in, their boots striking the floor in unison. They formed a perfect line before the bride and lifted their hands in salute. If you believe kindness is beyond judgment, type. Outrage has no place in grace. Every morning before dawn, Emily Sanchez's alarm went off at 4:30. By 5 a.m., she was unlocking the doors of Sunrise Bakery in San Diego. At 30 years old, she had already spent 6 years as the head pastry chef, praised locally for buttery croissants and cinnamon rolls that melted in your mouth. Yet, those who worked alongside her often noted something else about her, a secret daily ritual. Once her first trays were out of the ovens, she would wrap one pastry carefully, pour coffee into a takeaway cup, and slip quietly out the back door. There, at a weathered bench near the bus stop, she left the food beside a small handwritten note, wishing you a gentle day. The meal was meant for the same figure every time, an older man with silver-streaked hair, a fraying coat, and tired shoes. He never begged, never bothered passers-by, simply sat quietly, always in the same spot. 6 years passed without either ever asking a name. To her co-workers, though, the habit was strange, even foolish. "She's throwing product away," one said. "That guy will drain her dry eventually," another predicted. When new ownership took over the bakery 3 months back, her supervisor raised the issue during a review. "Your generosity is admirable, Emily," he said carefully. "But it makes some customers uncomfortable. If you want to give back, why not work with a proper shelter?" Emily only nodded, but she didn't stop. Instead, she started arriving even earlier, ensuring no one saw her morning errand. Or so she thought, until a new hire caught her returning one day. "She's been giving that bum food for years," the new employee hissed, loud enough for customers to overhear. A customer shook her head with pity. "Sad, really. She thinks she's changing something." Emily kept working the dough, her face calm though the words sank deep. She wasn't chasing recognition. She simply saw what they refused to, a human being deserving of dignity. Her mother had once called her too soft when she spoke of marrying Marco, a firefighter with a heart just as open as hers. "Always giving away what you work for," her mother sighed. But Emily understood something vital. Kindness wasn't about glory. It was about noticing those the world overlooked. Have you ever seen goodness mocked? Then type, "So unfair." Though she never exchanged words with the man, small gestures passed between them, a nod, a glance, a smile. One December morning, rain dripping from the awnings, she noticed him trembling in the cold. She set down his pastry and coffee as usual, but left her own wool scarf too. The following day, she discovered a note scribbled in shaky pencil on the napkin she always left. "Thank you for treating me as human." She tucked that note into her wallet, pulling it out when the world grew heavy. When wedding plans began, Emily naturally ordered her cake from Sunrise Bakery, inviting co-workers and neighbors to the celebration. Marco teased her about including half the city, but he admired her boundless inclusivity. Then, 2 days before the ceremony, an unmarked envelope arrived, addressed only to the bride. Inside was a card with a line that puzzled the wedding planner: "Tomorrow I come not for cake, but to repay a debt." On the morning of the wedding, Emily peeked through the bridal room window at arriving guests. Family, colleagues, friends, all dressed to perfection. Then her eyes caught him. The older man from the bus stop, standing at the entrance in a carefully pressed, but aged suit, polished shoes, his hair neatly combed. For the first time, she saw his face clearly, lined by hardship, but dignified. Guests noticed too. Whispers filled the air. Did she invite the homeless man? Is he here to ask for money? Ignoring decorum, Emily gathered her gown and rushed to him. Guests gasped, the wedding planner called out, but she didn't pause. Wrapping him in a fierce embrace, she whispered, "I still remember your eyes, the first time in 2017. He smiled, warmth transforming his weathered face. "And I remember every morning you saw me as human," he answered, voice stronger than she imagined. Just then, the rumble of engines outside drew every eye. The church doors swung wide as 12 Marines marched in, formation flawless. Conversation died mid-breath. One glass slipped from a hand, shattering on the floor. At the front, a captain named Duncan stopped, saluted Emily, and declared, "On behalf of Alpha Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, we honor the woman who quietly sustained a warrior for 6 years." Confusion rippled through the crowd. Captain Duncan gestured toward the man by Emily's side. "This is Sergeant Victor Hale, a Marine who carried 9 brothers out of an ambush in Fallujah, 2004. After losing his family in 2016, he walked away from life, refusing benefits, refusing his name." Gasps swept the church. One Marine stepped forward, holding a shadow box with a medal and an old photograph, Victor carrying a wounded Marine through rubble. Behind him in the photo stood a younger Duncan. "Sergeant Hale carried me 4 blocks under fire," Duncan explained. "He saved me, and 8 more men, while wounded himself. He was awarded the Silver Star. He never claimed it." Victor bowed his head. "I didn't want to be called a hero. After losing my wife and daughter, I couldn't live with praise I didn't deserve. But you, Emily, you never asked, never demanded. You simply gave. You gave me a reason to keep waking up." The Marines created a formal honor guard down the aisle. Duncan turned to the guests. She never knew she was feeding a decorated Marine. She only saw a soul in need. In the Corps, we say never leave a Marine behind. Emily Sanchez understood that better than most who wear this uniform. One bridesmaid stepped forward in tears. "I work with Emily. She pays for the extra ingredients herself, every single day." Another co-worker lowered her head. "We teased her for it. We didn't understand." Victor took Emily's hands. "I came today with only one gift left, my truth, my gratitude, and myself. I hope you don't mind that I ask some old friends to join me." Emily smiled through tears. "It's the most beautiful gift I could imagine." Marco, the groom, approached. "Sir, it would be an honor if you walked her down the aisle. If you've ever seen a small act change a life, type, I owe a debt." After their honeymoon, Emily and Marco didn't return to ordinary life. With their wedding gifts, they founded the Quiet Table, a breakfast program for homeless veterans. No cameras, no press, just a hand-carved wooden sign, "Feeding one person feeds an entire life." Victor never appeared there again. But each month, Emily received a postcard from different cities, each saying the same thing: "Every breakfast is a salute. Thank you." Captain Duncan later explained Victor was finally accepting care, using his VA benefits, finding his way back into community. On the couple's first anniversary, the 12 Marines appeared at the Quiet Table in plain clothes, each carrying a flower. "We'll take shifts here," Duncan said. "This honor will not fade." The effort grew. Veterans across San Diego found their way to that table. Above the counter hung Victor's note, "Thank you for seeing me as a person." Beneath it, Emily had added, "Every story here is worth knowing." 6 months later, a news team discovered the Quiet Table. Emily declined an interview. "This isn't about me," she said. "It's about recognizing those we ignore every day." Whenever supplies ran low or volunteers dropped out, Emily thought of that day when 12 Marines had stood at attention for nothing more than small, steady kindness. It kept her going. Marco understood. As a firefighter, he knew heroism often meant simply showing up, again and again. You know, he told her one evening, closing the quiet table together, when I married you, I didn't just gain a wife. I gained 12 Marines and a family of veterans. Emily smiled. The best kind of family, the kind you choose, and the kind that chooses you back. Type. I will live with kindness if you believe a simple meal can carry a soul through darkness. Some debts don't need money, only the dignity of being seen. Not every hero wears medals. Sometimes, they sit quietly on benches, hungry yet unseen. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is feed them without asking their story.